Eli sat alone on the cold stone bench, staring at the sky that shimmered with two moons. Around him, tall buildings made of glass and silver reached into the clouds. This was not Earth. This was Shirian, the alien capital. Every wall glowed. Every street floated. Every step he took felt like walking on the edge of a dream. But Eli didn't feel special. He felt invisible. Aliens passed him without a word. Some looked at him with wide eyes. Others just kept walking fast, whispering to each other. No one ever spoke to him. Not once. He had been here for 3 weeks. A human envoy, sent to learn, sent to observe, sent to represent peace. But peace was quiet, and silence was heavy. Too heavy. The bench he sat on was old and untouched. No alien ever used it. There was no sign, no warning. But Eli noticed something strange when he sat. People walked farther away. As if the bench was marked without paint. As if it was cursed. He sighed, looking down at his boots. The plaza around him was filled with color aliens with wings, some with crystal skin, others with long necks or glowing hair. They laughed, traded goods, told stories in musical voices, and yet he was still alone. A shadow moved, slow, calm. Eli didn't look up at first, but he felt something. Like someone was staring straight into his soul. He raised his eyes. An alien woman stood just a few steps away. She was tall, even for her kind. Her silver skin shimmered like moonlight. Her black eyes had rings of violet that pulsed softly. A thin golden robe hung from her shoulders. She didn't look afraid. She didn't look angry. She looked curious. They locked eyes. Then, softly, she stepped forward, looked at the empty space beside him on the bench, and spoke. "What if I sit right here?" Her voice was smooth, not loud. But the sound carried, echoed. Eli blinked. Did she really just say that? No alien had spoken to him in days, and now this? Around them, the plaza went silent. Conversation stopped. Feet froze. Even the glowing lights above seemed to dim. Eli looked around. Hundreds of eyes were on them, watching. He turned back to her. It's just a bench," he said quietly, unsure if it was safe to say more. She smiled, but not a full smile, just the corner of her lips. "No," she whispered, "it is not just a bench. Not here." And then slowly, like a drop falling in still water, she sat. Right beside him. The plaza gasped, loud, sharp, like wind being sucked from the air. For a moment, nothing happened. No one moved. No one spoke. Eli could feel his heartbeat in his ears. He looked at her. She stared forward, calm, as if this was normal. As if she had done this 1,000 times before. But her fingers were tense. Her shoulders stiff. She was afraid, but choosing not to show it. "You know this will cause trouble," Eli said under his breath. "I hope it does," she said back. A drone dropped from the sky, hovering close. Guards in black armor marched from the edges of the plaza, eyes locked on them. Weapons not raised but close. The alien woman slowly reached into her robe. Eli tensed. But she pulled out something small, a glowing white stone. She placed it between them on the bench. "This belonged to my great-grandmother," she said. "She once walked beside a human. Before the laws changed. Before the truth was buried." Eli looked at the stone. It pulsed gently like a heartbeat. "You know who I am?" she asked. He nodded slowly. "Rhea, daughter of Governor Selner," her head tilted. "Then you understand the risk." "Yes," Eli whispered. "But I also understand loneliness." She finally turned to look at him fully, and for a moment, her strong face looked soft, almost sad. Then, one of the guards stepped forward. "Lady Rhea," he said, voice sharp, "stand away from the human. Now." She didn't move. Eli stood. Not to run, not to fight, just to stand beside her. "I choose where I sit," Rhea said. "And who I sit beside." The guard froze. And in that moment, the old laws cracked just a little. Not broken, but bent. The plaza remained still. The bench was no longer just a bench, it was a spark. And sparks, when ignored, become fire. Rhea didn't return the next day. Eli sat on the same bench, eyes watching the glowing street around him. The air felt colder than before, even though the twin suns still hung in the lavender sky. Every time someone passed, he thought it might be her. But no, just more looks. More whispers. He could feel the difference now. Since Rhea sat beside him, everything had changed. Guards watched him from rooftops. Drones hovered a little longer. Merchants refused to sell him fruit. The city didn't just ignore him anymore, it noticed him. And it didn't like what it saw. He didn't blame Rhea. If anything, he admired her. She had done something bold. Something that no one else had dared. She had sat. And now, everything was trembling. Eli's fingers brushed against the small white stone she had left on the bench. It pulsed with a quiet warmth, like a living thing. He had tried to study it. It wasn't just a keepsake, it held data, memories, echoes. He felt flashes when he touched it. A woman's laugh. A battlefield with humans and aliens fighting side by side. A wedding between two worlds. But when he held it too long, it went cold. He wondered, was it broken? Or was it waiting? Suddenly, something small landed on his shoulder. A soft paper-like bird. Not real, but a message drone made of glowing code. It flapped once, then dissolved. Only one word stayed behind, floating in the air in front of him. Tonight. His heart beat faster. That evening, long after the markets had closed and the floating lights dimmed, Eli walked toward the river district. This part of the city shimmered differently. The water reflected stars in perfect stillness. Tall trees with crystal branches lined the path, glowing softly with every step he took. The message had said nothing more, just, tonight, but he knew, he felt it. And he was right. Rhea waited near the river's edge, standing beneath a large glowing tree. Her robe was darker now, less royal. She wore a hood, but her silver face still caught the moonlight. "You came," she said, voice low. "You asked," Eli replied. She didn't smile this time. Her eyes were serious. Her fingers kept twitching at her side. "We don't have much time." Eli stepped closer. "What's happening, Rhea?" "My father's council is angry," she said. "They say I brought shame, that I touched a danger, that I've broken sacred rules. I didn't ask for this," Eli said carefully. "I know," she replied, "but I chose to sit. I chose to speak." She looked around, then pulled something from inside her cloak. A small silver device. She clicked it, and the lights around them dimmed, the air around them humming softly. "A sound bubble," she said. "They can't hear us now." Eli frowned. "Why go through all this?" Rhea stepped closer. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Because we were lied to. All of us, humans and Zyrenes, used to live side by side, work together, love each other. But something happened. The stories were erased. The records changed. Why? Because unity made them afraid. A human saved our world once. A human loved one of our leaders. But love makes people brave. Brave people challenge power. So they cut out the past. Bit by bit, she reached for the white stone in Eli's hand. "This is a memory crystal. My grandmother hid it before she died. It holds truth, real history." Eli stared at the stone. "So, that vision I saw, it was her, the first woman who loved a human. And her name was also Rhea," Eli's voice caught. "You're named after her." "Yes," Rhea said, her eyes shining. But no one was supposed to know why. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed behind them. A flash of red light. Eli turned. 3 dark figures were moving across the bridge, heading their way. "Guards," Rhea whispered. "They followed me." "Run?" Eli asked. "No," she said firmly. "Not yet." She pressed the stone into his hand. "Keep this safe. Don't let them take it. Don't let them destroy it. What about you? I'll distract them. You blend in, move through the lower tunnels. I'll find you again. I promise. L.A. hesitated, but then nodded. He turned to leave, slipping behind a row of crystal trees. Behind him, he heard her voice loud, royal, angry. How dare you follow me without cause? She was playing her role well, but for how long? As Eli vanished into the shadows, he held the crystal tight. The truth was alive again, and the city would never sleep easy again. The next morning, the skies above Shirian glowed a strange orange. Not from weather, but from tension. High above the city, in the curved towers of the Sky Hall, the most powerful aliens met under glass ceilings that touched the stars. They whispered, in panic. Not about war, not about enemies, but about a bench and a human. A human who was touched by one of their own. Rhea. Her name rang like thunder inside the council chambers. Some called her foolish. Some called her cursed. Others feared what it meant. That a daughter of the governor sat with a human. Not during a meeting, not under orders, but by choice, by curiosity. And worse, she had vanished afterward. Meanwhile, Eli walked carefully through the lower streets of the city. The white memory crystal pulsed in his pocket. Guards searched openly now. Drones scanned faces. His name had spread through the news clouds. Human envoy involved in royal scandal. Some reports called him a spy, others a dangerous disruptor. Even the silent ones stared longer. He felt their eyes, heavy, judging, afraid. But what disturbed him most was the silence from the embassy. His own people hadn't contacted him, no warnings. No updates, no protection. He was alone now, not just in culture, but in safety. Still, he couldn't leave. Not yet. Not after what Rhea showed him. That night, Eli moved through shadows toward the old archive, a half-forgotten data vault hidden inside the roots of a floating temple. It wasn't open to humans. But Rhea had marked the path on his translator band. As he crept through cracked marble halls, he passed dusty walls covered with carvings. Most were faded, but one caught his eye. It showed a tall Zyrene woman and a man in a strange Earth-style cloak standing back to back, holding up a shield. Below them, children of both species played together under twin moons. The carving was old, but beautiful, powerful, sacred. And then he noticed there were scratch marks across the human's face. Someone had tried to erase him. Eli reached for the memory crystal and touched it to the carving. The stone began to glow. A soft hum echoed through the chamber. A voice whispered from the crystal, not in language but in memory. He stood when others fled. He stayed when others left. And for love he gave his name to the stars. Then silence. Eli stepped back, shaken. Who was this man? What happened to him? Why was his name removed from history? Before he could think more, a sudden clang rang from behind. He turned fast. 2 guards had followed him in. "Halt!" one barked. "You are trespassing sacred grounds." "I'm just a visitor," Eli said calmly, stepping away from the carving. "You carry forbidden's tech. Give it to us." Eli backed away. "This doesn't belong to you." The taller guard reached for a stun staff. "Then we'll take it." Before they could move, a soft voice cut through the chamber. "Enough." Rhea stepped into the light, wearing a full royal cloak, this time tall, proud, and fierce. Her eyes locked on the guards. "Do you know who I am?" They froze. "Yes, Lady Rhea." "Then you know I have rights." "And the first claimed this human under royal protection, for now." "But leave," she said sharply. "Now." The guards bowed and vanished into the dark. Eli let out a breath. "You saved me again." "I'm tired of saving," she whispered. "I want to start changing." She walked over to the carving, touched it gently. "This man," she said, "was once my ancestors' mate. They loved in secret, fought in public, built hope in silence. But the council erased him, his name. Why? Because humans age faster, die quicker, and her grief became dangerous. She demanded rights, peace, and truth. The council feared her emotions, so they silenced them both. Eli looked at her. And now? Now they'll try to silence me too. Eli held out the crystal. Then let's give them something they can't erase. Rhea smiled, for real this time. The truth. She stepped beside him again. 2 bodies, 1 memory. And a storm that had already begun. The river beneath the city flowed like glass, quiet and glowing, untouched by wind or sound. Eli stood near its edge, hidden beneath an arched walkway covered in soft blue vines. Above him, flying vehicles passed without stopping. Beside him, the water reflected both stars and fear. He waited. Rhea had sent another message. This time, hidden in a fruit vendor's scanner, just 1 blink of her name, then a location. River of Stillness. She wanted to meet again. And Eli knew this meeting would be different. Bigger, riskier. He clutched the memory crystal in his palm. It had grown warmer each day. As if it was alive. As if it remembered everything and wanted to speak louder now. Footsteps echoed from behind. He turned quickly. Rhea stepped out of the shadows, cloaked in a simple traveler's wrap, her hair tucked back, her silver skin catching the river's light. Her face looked tired, but not weak. She was carrying something small, covered in cloth. You came, she said softly. I said I would, Eli replied. She looked around before sitting on the stone ledge beside the water. No guards followed this time. But drones may be watching. Eli sat beside her, keeping his voice low. Why here? This is where my grandmother was last seen with the human she loved, she whispered. They stood right here before they vanished. Some say they were taken. Others say they escaped. And you believe? He asked. I believe they tried, Rhea said. But history doesn't care about trying. It only remembers winners. And silence. Eli took out the crystal. Then let's make it remember this. Rhea smiled faintly and unwrapped the object she brought. It was an old data slate. Thin, dusty, and cracked. I found this in my family's private archives. It connects to the memory crystal. It holds everything she saved. She placed the slate gently on the ground and pressed the crystal into a small socket. The stone flashed. Then the air around them shimmered. Suddenly, they were surrounded by floating lights, images, voices, moving shapes. Ghosts of the past. A tall human man stood beside a silver-skinned woman. They walked together through old markets, laughing. They fought in war rooms, stood before councils, raised their hands during peace talks. They kissed beneath a silver moon. The lights flickered. Another scene, this time, the same woman screaming at a council, her voice shaking, her hands holding the crystal. He died saving one of you, and you call him dangerous? Then static, the image froze, silence. Rhea looked down. That was her final message. Eli's throat felt dry. She loved him more than the council could understand. And they erased her for it, Rhea said. But now, the truth is out. This proves humans were not monsters. They were part of us. Our story. Eli nodded slowly. So what do we do? Rhea stood, voice firmer now. We share this. With the public. With the young. With anyone who still wonders why we fear the old benches. The old songs. The old dreams. A rustle came from behind the vines. Eli reached for the crystal, but it was too late. A drone flew through, red lights blinking. It had recorded everything. Rhea's eyes widened. No! The drone shot upward, its wings buzzing. In seconds, it would reach the city towers. Eli ran, fast. He grabbed the metal rod from beside the walkway, sprinted up a stone ramp, and leapt. His arm struck the drone's base with a loud crack. Sparks flew. The drone spun wildly, smoke trailing behind, and crashed into the river with a hiss. Silence returned. Eli stood there, chest heaving. Rhea stared. You could have fallen. I've fallen before, he said. From earth to here. She walked over and looked into the river. The drone sank, vanishing. They'll send more, she said. Then we move faster, Eli replied. Before they erase us too, Rhea nodded. Tomorrow night. Sky Hall. There's an old broadcast core in the floor chamber. If we reach it, we can stream the memory across the planet. To everyone? To everyone. Eli placed the crystal back into his pocket. Then let's make sure your grandmother's voice is finally heard. Their eyes met. No more hiding, no more silence. Tomorrow the truth would echo. The grass wasn't real, but it moved like it was. Ayla ran through the glowing fields outside Shirion's core city. Tall blades of blue and violet light brushed against his arms, flickering like fire but leaving no burn. Above him, the twin moons glared down like watching eyes. Behind him, footsteps, fast, heavy. They had been found. Beside him, Rhea kept pace. Her golden robe was torn, her hood missing. Her silver skin glowed under the moons, making it harder for her to hide. She was breathing hard, but didn't slow down. They're right behind us, she hissed. I noticed. Eli shouted back, gripping the memory crystal tight in one hand. Suddenly, a red beam shot past his shoulder and burned a hole through a tall hollow tree. Split left, Rhea yelled. They dove in different directions. Eli ducked under a root-like bridge made of light. Rhea rolled into a glowing bush that blinked like a warning light. The holograss shimmered, trying to reset, but their fast steps confused it. Behind them, the city guards shouted orders. They were using ground units now, not drones. That meant they wanted the crystal intact, and maybe Rhea too. Eli stopped for a second behind a thick, buzzing pillar of light. His heart pounded in his ears. He looked at the crystal still glowing. He remembered her words. If they catch us, they'll erase the truth again. He couldn't let that happen. Across the field, Rhea's voice echoed through the comlink she'd hidden in his jacket. Keep moving toward the old signal spire. It's under the market ruins. I don't know the way, he whispered. Follow the fireflies, I set them loose. Eli looked up. Tiny golden lights floated ahead, weaving a path through the grass like stars on a string. He didn't question it. He ran. More red beams cut through the air behind him. One sizzled just inches from his foot. He dove, rolled, and kept running. The path sloped downward now. The air grew colder, quieter, then stone. Ruins. The remains of an old market plaza. Abandoned for decades after a quake. Walls leaned sideways. Broken stalls crumbled under moss and flickering neon signs. In the center, a tall broken tower stood like a crooked finger. Rhea was already there, crouched near a rusted metal door hidden in the floor. I found the entrance, she said. Help me open it. Eli rushed over. They pushed together. The door groaned, then snapped open, revealing dark stairs below. They hurried inside. The air smelled like old wires and dust. Lights flickered weakly on the ceiling. This is the signal spire? Eli asked, out of breath. Rhea nodded. Before the city floated, this tower was used to send open broadcasts. No filters, no blockers. If we reach the main chamber, we can send the memory to everyone. Even the outer worlds. She placed her hand on a scanner. It blinked red. Denied, it said in a robotic voice. Rhea cursed under her breath. They locked me out. My access is gone. I'm not in their system at all, Eli said. Can't help there, but maybe we can break in, Rhea whispered. She pulled out a small pulse tool and started cutting through the side panel of the wall. Suddenly, the scanner lit up green. Override accepted. Welcome, Rhea Vel-Selner. She froze. What? Eli asked. I didn't do that. Then a soft mechanical voice echoed from the darkness. Because I did. They turned fast. A small figure stepped out of the shadows. Old, wrinkled. Zeorine. Male, with one mechanical arm and one glowing blue eye. I knew your grandmother, he said. I built this spire with her. Who are you? Rhea asked. A ghost, the old man said with a weak smile. And I've waited a long time to see someone brave enough to finish her work. He stepped forward, opened a hidden panel, and gestured to the transmitter core. "Upload the memory," he said. "I'll hold the guards back." "But," Rhea began. "There's no time," he said gently. "And no peace without truth." Eli stepped forward, inserted the crystal into the core. The walls lit up, the air vibrated. The truth was about to fly. Outside, the guards surrounded the tower. Inside, the past was waking up. Eli stood in chains. Not iron ones, but glowing magnetic cuffs that hovered just above his wrists, humming softly like bees. He was tired, bruised, and covered in dust from the ruined signal spire. His clothes were torn, his face marked with cuts, but his eyes, they were steady. Beside him, Rhea stood tall and unshackled, wearing her royal robe again. Her silver face was calm, but her hands trembled slightly. Her father sat in the high seat across from them, Governor Selner, eyes hard like ice, face unreadable. The High Council Hall of Shirian was filled with whispers. Thousands of eyes stared down from curved balconies above. Alien leaders, citizens, even students. News drones floated silently, recording everything. The memory broadcast from the spire had gone out, but only for a minute before the backup system shut it down. Yet that 1 minute, it had been enough to spark a fire. Now the council wanted control again. And it would begin with a trial. The eldest counselor, an alien with a long silver beard and 2 glowing horns, banged his staff. Silence. The room fell quiet. "Human," the counselor said, voice like stone. "You are charged with entering restricted memory zones, damaging government property, and releasing unauthorized data. Do you deny these actions?" Eli lifted his head. "I don't deny anything. I shared the truth." Gasps echoed through the hall. Selner narrowed his eyes. "You think you understand our history?" "I understand pain," Eli said. "And I understand what it means to erase someone you loved from the world." Whispers grew again. The counselor raised his hand. "Lady Rhea," he said next, "you stand accused of betrayal, disobeying your father, aiding a foreigner, sharing protected records. How do you answer?" Rhea stepped forward. Her voice didn't shake. "I did it," she said clearly. "All of it." The room gasped louder this time. Even Selner leaned forward slightly, surprised by her calmness. "I sat on a bench beside a human. I touched his shoulder. I gave him my grandmother's crystal. I guided him to the lost spire, because I wanted to remember. And I wanted you to remember too," Selner's voice boomed. "You shamed this family. You put the city at risk." "No," Rhea said. "You did, when you buried the past. When you erased the name of the man who helped save us. My grandmother's mate." She looked around at the council. "Your fear is louder than your wisdom. And the people are watching now." One of the council members stood up. "You dare turn this into a speech?" "No," Rhea said quietly. "I turn it into a choice." She walked over to Eli and stood beside him. Then shockingly, she reached out and broke his cuffs with a hidden key embedded in her ring. Guards moved. Drones flashed. But Selner lifted his hand. "Let her finish," he growled. Rhea looked up into the crowd. "You teach the young that humans are unstable. But they brought medicine, peace ideas, and helped stop our last civil war. You call their love dangerous. But what's truly dangerous is forgetting that we were once better together." Eli stepped forward now too. "I didn't come here to fight," he said. "I came to understand. And in Rhea, I found someone who understands me back." A long silence fell. Then movement. From the balconies above, someone began to clap, softly. Then another. And another. Soon, a wave of claps echoed around the chamber. Governor Selner stood slowly. He raised his hand for silence again. "I cannot erase what you've done," he said to Rhea, "but I also cannot deny what I saw in that memory." He turned to the council. "Perhaps we have forgotten too much." Another elder counselor nodded. "Let us vote." It was quick. 7 said guilty. 9 said innocent. Eli and Rhea were free. The counselor with the silver beard stood. Then let history record this moment, not as a failure but as a beginning. Eli looked at Rhea. She smiled, eyes wet but proud. And across the city, news drones lit up again, this time not with fear, but with hope. Because the truth had walked into the council, and walked back out unbroken. The winds over Shirian turned soft. The skies looked cleaner. The floating buildings didn't hum as loud. It was as if the entire city was breathing slower, carefully, like someone waking from a long, heavy sleep. And in the center of that sleeping city sat a bench. The same bench where Eli first met Rhea. Once empty, once feared. Now people gathered around it every day. Some stood at a distance, whispering. Some just stared in silence, and some sat, not many, not yet. But one by one, they were coming. Children were the first. A small Zerine boy sat down and kicked his feet. A human girl from the outer colonies sat beside him, holding a snack. They didn't speak the same language, but they laughed anyway. A passing news drone caught the moment and streamed it across 10 worlds. It became a symbol. The bench where 2 worlds changed. Eli returned quietly. No guards followed him now. No one tried to stop him. He wore no special robe, no armor, no badge of honor. Just a soft shirt and boots covered in dust. He sat on the bench again, the same way he did the first time. This time he wasn't alone. The wind moved the leaves gently. A bird-like creature landed near his foot. A small alien girl gave him a flower. And then he heard footsteps, slow, familiar. He turned his head. Rhea stood beside him, dressed in simple clothes. No crown, no cape, just herself. She smiled. "Is the seat still open?" she asked softly. Eli patted the bench. "Always," she sat. And the crowd, gathered far around the plaza, stayed silent but alert, watching, not with fear now, but with curiosity. Just like Rhea's first words. Rhea pulled something from her pocket, the memory crystal, now smooth, quiet, no longer glowing. "I think it's done," she said. "It gave us what we needed. Do we return it to the archives?" Eli asked. "No," Rhea replied. "We give it to the people." She stood, walked to the center of the plaza, and placed the crystal into a newly carved monument made of black stone. On it were 2 figures, one human, one Zerine, standing together under twin moons. Words were carved in both languages. Truth is not a threat. Love is not a weakness. Sit beside the unknown. Eli joined her. The plaza filled with soft sound footsteps, voices, music from a nearby street performer. The city was alive again. And different. Later that evening, they returned to the bench. "I keep thinking about your grandmother," Eli said. Rhea nodded. She would have loved to see this. She would have cried. "And then broken another rule," Eli chuckled. "Sounds like someone else I know." Rhea looked at him, her voice quiet. "When I asked to sit that first time, I didn't know what I was doing. I just felt drawn to you, like a whisper in my blood." "And now?" Eli asked. "Now I know," she said. "I was looking for something I'd never had. Someone who didn't see me as a name or a title, but as me." They sat in silence for a while. The twin moons rose high above. People continued to gather. Some sat on the ground, some brought flowers. One artist began painting the moment. No one pushed, no one shouted. It was peaceful. The governor Selner watched from a high tower, alone, quiet, perhaps remembering his own past. Perhaps thinking of what he'd lost, but even he didn't stop it. The change had begun, and no law could hold it back now. Later, before leaving, Rhea whispered, "Do you think we'll be remembered?" Eli smiled. "We already are," she tilted her head. "Even if no one builds statues." He leaned back on the bench. "A child just drew your face on a sidewalk with light chalk. That's better than any statue." Rhea laughed softly. The stars above blinked gently, like they were watching. And far across the galaxy, A message traveled through deep space networks. A clip, a sound. A single phrase spoken in two voices, one human, one alien. What if I sit right here? The galaxy listened, and slowly, it made room on the bench.